All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples to his younger brothers. And peace and blessings and salutation to the hopeful elect out there pushing his word in truth and in sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh Bashem Al Shai, pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful elect, the believers, the listeners whom have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bashem Al Shai. All right. So I want to go into the book of St. John, the 19th chapter, dealing with this account, of Yahweh Shai being questioned, by the high priest, after he was betrayed, by Judas, okay, and apprehended, okay, by the Israelite, the authority of the Jews, all right, at the time, you know. So when you go into it, Yahweh Shah makes a statement, and that's the same sentiment, that we have, all right, as Yahweh Shah was always, preparing the minds of the disciples, to be hated for his name's sake, to be questioned, to suffer. Okay. And our mind has to be prepared, in the same fashion. Okay. Understanding what we're a part of. Okay. And understanding, that any day, our life can take a drastic change, based on what we believe. Okay. We can be separated from our family. Okay. We can be in, remote location somewhere. We can be in front of, these same people that we respond to on these videos, okay, and different things where we can be right in front of them. We can be right in front of a Pete Hegseth, you know. You see a Elon, we could be right in front of these people, and they require a testimony of what we believe, okay. Local officials, city council, government boards, whatever. Okay, just know that teaching this truth, as the elder Malcolm always gets into, giving a salutation to the brothers risking their lives and freedom, to do this. Okay, this is why we understand that this is why we're not for the gimmicks, for the games and, making light, okay, of the ministry. Nah, this is, real life. Okay, this is uh, reality, man. Okay. St. John 18 and 19, it says the high priest then asks you, I'm reading the NLT, it says, inside the high priest, all right, it's St. John 18 and 19 in the NLT, inside the high priest began asking Yahushua about his followers and what he had been teaching them. Yahushua replied, everyone knows what I teach. I have preached regularly in the synagogues and the temple where the people gather. I have not spoken in secret. So Yahushua made a valid point. Like, I teach every day openly. As you know, Yahushua taught daily. Like, I openly talk every day. Why are you asking what I teach? And that's a sentiment that we have. We openly teach. We have nothing to hide. Okay? What we believe in, we teach it every day. Every aspect of what we believe in, we teach it every single day. Start with the apostles and elders on down. And it's been the same thing for decades, man. Start with our apostles and elders. Okay? It's been the same thing for decades, man. And so, when Yahweh Shai, he like, look, I taught nothing in secret, and I taught openly in the synagogue. Okay? Verse 21. Why are you asking me this question? Ask those who heard me. They know what I said. So Yahweh Shai, didn't have nothing to hide concerning his doctrine, man. You see, and don't make people, okay, with this Edomite, rhetoric and propaganda and, criticism of what we teach. Don't let these people feel as if we're teaching something wrong. Okay, we should be ashamed of anything that we teach, man. Okay, because when you get to this point to where brothers are getting snatched up, which we gotta, hey, our mind, hey, you gotta think of, we gotta meditate on that, man. I look at that front door every day. You see, a day doesn't go by without thinking about that, man. Okay, so when you get to this point, we out there. All right, of course, we are wise in our day to day, and we're not going around, just letting everyone know what we believe and how we think. Okay, but when we get on these platforms, these channels, hey, it's wide open. Just like Yahushua in the synagogue, he was wide open. Okay, wherever he was teaching, in different places, but he was teaching openly. Okay, you see, so it's gonna come a time to, hey, it is what it is. And they're gonna try to make it seem as we're hateful. Okay, we have a hateful doctrine. Judgment is not hateful. That's righteous, man. The wicked being judged is not hate. Okay, the Lord chose, all right, a nation of people. Okay, that's what He wanted to do. That's just what it is. Okay, America being destroyed. All right, that's righteous judgment, man. Okay, that's not doing too much. Okay, so we have to be fully rooted in what we believe and understand why we believe. Okay, I think that's is that First Peter 3? Yep, it's First Peter 3. All right. And 15 it says, but sanctify the Lord power in your hearts, okay, in your mind, in our mind, man. Okay, and be ready always to give an answer to every man that asketh you a reason of the hope that is within you with meekness and fear. Okay, so we have to fully understand what we believe and why we believe it. Okay, you see, when we first come into this thing, we go through the phase of being a parrot. Okay, we believe, but we really can't explain what we believe and why we believe it. Okay, but as we mature in this thing, we get to the point to understanding what we're a part of, what we believe, and why we believe it, man. Okay, and Yahushua was always gearing the apostles, all right, the disciples, which will become apostles, for these moments, man. This is why the Lord has put serious leadership in place, man. Serious minded men. Okay. This is St. John 15 and 18. It says, if the world hates you, remember that it hated me first. Okay? So we have to understand that this is a society that has been cultivated from birth, especially over here in the West, all right, to be anti-Messiah. Okay, that's the darkness that we was pulled out of, was anti-Messiah. We lived and our thinking was based, okay, off of anti-Messiah, okay, perspectives, man, of this world. Okay, so we have to understand that as we are conforming to Yahushua, this world is conforming more and more to the beast. So there's gonna be a natural enmity, man, because it's two polar opposites. You see, it says the world, all right. It said the world will love you as one of its own if you belong to it, but you are not, but you are no longer part of the world. I chose you to come out of the world, so it hates you. So we're no longer part of this age. You say we're physically here, man, but spiritually we're not a part of this age. We don't fit in anymore. Okay? When it comes to our perspective, our outlook in the spirit, okay, we're not no longer of this world. Okay, we don't fit in. That's why, our number one prayer, Okay? It's to get out of here, man. For the Lord to end this thing, man. Okay? And the world, the world, all right, is getting ready, to make his move. The Edomites, okay, are gearing up the propaganda machine, okay, to go with their move. You see? And it's gonna come a point to where certain men, hey, this is our fate, to be before, all right, the higher ups, okay, and then want a testimony. It says, do you remember what I told you? A slave is not greater than the master. Since they persecuted me, naturally they will persecute you. And if they had listened to me, they would listen to you. So there's a heavy persecution coming for those that follow Yahushua. You know, these devils, all right, are gonna, use the media. Okay, they use the celebrity machine. Don't be surprised if celebrities, all right, Esau crank up the celebrity machine. Which these celebrities have the masses enchanted. Okay, they're nothing but just puppets. Okay, for the elites enchantments, man. You see, but Yahushua, he warned us of these things, and we have nothing to hide. We have nothing to be ashamed of. There's no point in the doctrine that we should be ashamed of. A man being the head of the house, okay? A woman being in order under her husband. You see? And we have nothing to be ashamed of. A 2-parent household. The children being taught in righteousness. Okay? These people they have no leg to stand on when it comes to morality in this world, man. To combat, all right, what we teach and what we believe, man. Okay, this is the book of Luke, chapter 21. Okay. Verse 12, it says, I start in the NLT, Luke 21:12 said, but before all this occurs, there will be a time of great persecution. You will be dragged into synagogues and prisons, and you will stand trial before kings and governors because you are my followers. And this happened to, the disciples, all right, which became apostles. Okay, and it's going to happen in this time. Okay, it said, but this will be your opportunity to tell them about me. So don't worry in advance. All right. It says, so don't worry in advance about how to answer the charges against you, for I will give you the right words and such wisdom that no one of your opponents will be able to reply or refute you. Salaki. So we have to fully understand that it's already mapped out. If it's our lot to be snatched up, okay, and give a testimony of Yahushua, well, guess what? Hey, the rebuttal, our rebuttal is already prepared in the heavens, man. We don't even have to think about what we're going to say, man. The Lord's going to put a spirit on us in that moment, if that's our lot, okay? And we have nothing to hide, We have nothing to hide, man. Let's get that. We can end it here, all right? These people doctrines are bugged out, okay? We have absolutely nothing to hide. Let's get this real quick. And we all these videos we got Esau with the AI, like nigga, you been giving me strikes. You know what we teach. Yeah, you give me a strike for this, you took this channel down. you know? Uh let's get Second Ezra, chapter 2. Yep, Second Ezra 2 and 35. It said, be ready to the reward of the kingdom, for the everlasting light shall shine upon you forevermore. And when it gets to the point to where they're snatching up brothers, we're right here. We're here. We're at the door. When it gets to the point to where they're snatching up the believers and requiring of a testimony, we're here. Okay, the kingdom is here, man. That reward. We have to meditate on that. And when we in these situations, man, just know we're suffering for the kingdom. Not day to day, we suffer for the kingdom. When we get, when we get snatched up, it's for the kingdom. Okay, there's a reward after whatever scenario we have to play out, whatever cup. All right, whatever cup, whatever divine appointment we have, the kingdom is after that, man. Okay, it said, "Flee the shadow of this world, receive the joyfulness of your glory. I testify my Savior openly." Okay, I testify my Savior openly, man. We testify Yahweh Shah openly, man. When we on these channels, man, there's no holding back on what we believe. All right, we thoroughly explain what we believe and why we believe it. Okay, and it says, "Oh, receive the gift that is given you, and be glad, giving thanks unto him that have led you into, all right, the heavenly kingdom," man. So we fled the shadow of this world. Okay, the resemblance of this world, the image of this world. We don't look at this age, all right, for protection, okay, or a way to be, a way to imitate. No, we imitate Yahweh Shah, which is not of this world. Okay, and we know why. Okay, and we explain why continually, man. So, we have nothing to hide, man. We're gonna keep teaching Yahweh Shah openly, man. Whether they hear or forbear. You see, as long as the elect, all right, which we know for sure that the elect is going to be sealed, okay, and delivered, okay, from it all. So, Lord will, you brothers, all right, and you sisters edified once again. I want to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Kakwadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples for his younger brothers. And peace and blessings, salutations to the whole elect. Shalom.